Hello, this is FG back with you for Anbennar. Today we are continuing on with the Rezankand campaign. I went ahead and played ahead a small amount so we could get an event. I did a few other things that aren't really worth mentioning, but here we are. Sometimes when he closed his eyes and let his mind wander, the soft splashing of the nearby river and the warm heat of the sun on his face made Kirdir forget for a moment where he was. No longer in the meticulously maintained garden of his villa in Rezankaz, his thoughts drifted to the memory of the palace gardens of Gishuram, back when he was no mere archmage, however accomplished, but a king in his own right. But in the end, events happened as they will in Suriel's magnificent order, and even Kiridir, who will openly admit to not being overly prone to excessive introspection or doubt, might admit, at least to himself, that it may have been for the best that the most ambitious project he initiated back home in Vanrahar never came to fruition. As they say, hindsight is always easier than foresight, but for all the good intentions that went into the conception of Project Divinity, it turned out that it was never truly needed. The people of Bulwar never needed an artificial godling to bolster their faith after decades of intersenine warfare between Sun Elf and Chosen. All it took was a fiery prophet charging out of the desert with an inner fire lit by Suriel himself. Or at least that was the claim made by Jadar. As soon as he heard of the fall of Saryand, he knew which way the wind was blowing, and Kiridir has always prided himself, amongst his many other qualities, a survivor. Instead of letting the desert wind bury him beneath the sands of time, he chose to join the venture of similarly far-sighted Icarus, who saw the writing on the wall as well and donated what resources his kingdom could spare to the expedition, himself and his loyal cadre of students foremost among them. Back then, he might not have realized it himself, but this, of course of events, was clearly the will of Suriel, for only by traveling to those distant shores could he fully discover his true purpose as a scholar, a mage, and a devout follower of Suriel. Only here in this vast realm, firmly in the grasp of the darkness, could he ever atone for his hubris. Only here could he forge something marvelous in service to the light, out of the time-honored arcane traditions of both Bulwari elves, be they sun elves descended from the migrant feet or the scions of the ruin that call these shores home. Like his namesake, the White Phoenix King was reborn in Suriel's light. Alright, so we are going to employ the former king of Vamrahar. Is expensive, but it is worth it. Alright. Alright. Put these guys together, put a leader on them, and have them protect trade in the Dry Coast. Obviously. Alright. And we can now take Tech 12 and get something else. Rezankandi Expeditionaries. Alright. We still have a ton of manpower, though. I do not have a truce with Larnkar anymore. Tech-wise, Tech 9 versus Tech 12, we will absolutely obliterate them. Probably want this one instead. Magi influence of 50 or greater. That. Caretaker of Mage Towers. Land Grant Academies. Alright. Oh yes. I want to start full coring some of these. Okay, we do want another cannon. Eventually we will get rid of expansion ideas. Alright. Nakar. Yeah, we're converting there. That seems good. Mage's influence needs to be 50 or greater. We can do that. We're building that. Excellent. And then we want to send a colonist right there. Alright. Advancements. Location. What are some fun things? Extraplanars. Divination. Deposit divination, manipulated fortunes, foresight. Oh, delusion. And we can spare the mana. And then we want to also hit the summon familiars. Alright. Let's do Nakar Kravati. And we will go ahead and build a spy network there. We should also probably build a port there. Yeah, that was a mistake to not have built that sooner. Alright. Is there anywhere we can even colonize anymore? Let's get rid of that, go to admin. Right, got that. Let me get that siege down. Alright, looking good. And marketplace, temple, dock. We need to get that one done. Zarda. Prestige. Someday that will be done, and that'll be great. Exemplars return. Alright, we can get everything but the city. Alright. Go this way. And we want to go this way so we can attack them in the hills. Of course, they will take absolutely horrific casualties, even though they have a pretty good general. Yeah. Alright. This is probably going to be a short episode. But so far things are going well. Our brothers join us. Nope, don't want that. Right. Alright, let's get that siege down. State magical thesis. Hurrah! Done with illusion. Advancement, study magic, illusion. Alright. Alright. These guys are getting annihilated by this war. Okay, yeah, we can start taking that. For more money. Excellent. They are gonna get... I knew they were gonna get that. Alright, so we will head over to their capital, Shadows in the Night. Kinda sucks. I really don't want to spend a year sieging that fort, so we will simply bombard it. Yeah, we'll do that. On elves, alright. Transfer there, so transfer here, over here. Okay, are they willing to surrender? Yeah. Alright. Okay, that reduces overextension by a lot, which is good. The Exemplars return. When we began our first expedition into Taichend, we did all that we could to vanquish the agents of darkness that had infected the region. But the Taichendi misunderstood our intentions, believing us to be interlopers, base conquerors interested only in relics and power. We did not have the strength to convince them otherwise, establish a lasting peace in the region, but now things have changed. When we march over the Katalamari once more, the slaves will be freed, the grim cycle of violence will be ended, and the darkness banished at last. Beware warlord slavers. So-called order bringers for the Exemplars have returned. The Herald marched into Vani Devenim's throne room. Thousands of Exemplars in his back, all Runeborn, all Taichendi, all Vikazelli. The cavernous chamber was clad in the transient glory of the past, and at its heart, the Mudaliar Hydra, fire-eyed, crowned Malurk slumped in his throne. Cried Devi, arms crossed. Kilyak sword brandishing. The Exemplars halted as the Kilyak stepped forward, sneer of disgust on his face, and spoke, "Behold! The Kellyren are here. Amien's treacherous converts, but where is Lascaris? The good relic lord is not one to shy from slaughter." The herald raised Zalgner defiant. "The dark taints your tongue, Mudaliar. We were not coerced as the Kaonists are. We saw willingly that only the light of Suriel can save Taichen from darkness." Krydevi sniggered at that. "Ah! A foreign god brought by interloper tongues, saving us from foreign danger. But when a Taichendi says it, as native as Periodai," Kilakai growled. "At least the Ambahans spoke plainly when they called us savages. At least the Kellyren could admit they despised their history and traditions." The herald slammed Zalganar against the ground. "You may be blind, but we see it as plain. Who cares if it is a foreign path, if it is the right one?" The Melric laughed weakly, dejected. "The right path, of course. One where we can be Taichendi. But the sort of interlopers... But only the sort interlopers want us to be. It's funny, isn't it?" The Melric took off his crown and flung it at the herald's fleet. "But the cycle is turned. There is nothing." Kilyak cut him off, outrageous. "You're giving up? Turning your back on slavery?" The herald interjected as he picked up the crown. "Constant infighting, strife, and chaos. And for what? Nothing." Malurk laughed again. Turned to Gridvi. "The stand against Sarath Erald, the desperate struggle to stop Kadalar, the just missions of Leonhara, the king of Anash. Did you know?" He laughed again. "Nothing. In Interloper's words, they are nothing." The herald rattled his crown in his hand. His face flared with righteous fury. "Doubt us, jibe at our ever words, but know that we are on the side of light. We will save you, end the cycle of bloodshed. And while we are stronger than you, more determined than you, there is nothing you can do to stop us." So try if you dare, for the Exemplars have returned. Alright. I mean, I guess I can move it to the Dry and Severed Coast. Yep, I want that. We will sit here so we can properly put down the rebels. Settle Central FLI, or Right, they can protect trade in the dry coast. Sure. Marketplace, temple, shipyard. Alright. There's my military engineer. I'll go with national manpower. Alright. Amiens has a lot of manpower, but we have way more military tech. What is combat with 27? Save up a bit of cash and get that. I'll do that. Yep, I can do that. And then now what I wanted, dock and 10 development. Find out if we get there. Alright. This will take us slightly over. Righty. And we just need a couple more cavalry. Excellent. So we are going to go in for that, unless we have... No, we do not have a better Oracle. Actually take that general, this one can get that general. Okay, I don't care. Great. We can come down here. What do we want? Probably something like that. Push them out of Paychend. Alright, we cannot take that many on at one time. Fortunately. Painful. Alright, where did that army run off to? Here it is. Okay, that is a Hills province. We want to go ahead and take that battle. Alright, cannons can go right there. Right. And go siege that fort down, you stupid, stupid bastards. Religion is this guy? Calavendi. Alright. Right. Got that under blockade. Okay, that's hills. Alright. Get the Calavend. Alright. Okay, so important provinces to take are those, and then those. Okay, yep, that loan hurts a little bit. That is fine. State magical thesis, illusion is renowned, advancement, study magic, illusion. Why am I studying so damn fast? Hey, 3,000 free men. I'll take that. Alright. Just gotta resiege all of this. Right, take that. Okay, like that, and then right there. Alright, good enough for me. And these guys can all go over there. I want to take that. These guys can guard that. Excellent. And we want to develop that whole bunch, do that. Alright, and we can do that. after it gets into the capital, we should be able to take it. Alright. Okay. Dockyards. Okay, so I need marketplace, temple, shipyard, dock. Marketplace, temple, shipyard. We can drop our forts for the moment. The extra money. Elisna's still looking excellent. Oh, I can actually demote that. Yampadier. Alright. And we need this to have a little bit more development as well. Alright. Have exemplary. Okay. Severed Coast. Sailing along the shores of Rezankand, our navigators were soon confronted with an undeniable truth. The cataclysm that led to the exodus of our ancestor must have been of an even greater magnitude than the most pessimistic speculations had assumed. Over the last decades, our most erudite scholars have reluctantly agreed upon a most outlandish theory. The calamity behind the Day of Ashen Skies did not merely devastate our ancestral home, but shattered the land itself. Vast tracts of land have become either submerged under the waves or turned into an enormous island miles and miles away from where our ancient maps predicted they should be found. Still, even with all these stunning changes forced upon the land and sea itself, we remain convinced what is now called the Severed Coast is all that is left of the homeland of our Sun Elven ancestors. Alright. Eventually we will go do that. Right. And aim for the sun. So now we need 250. Okay, let me get one R. Okay, so what we can do now is take out loans. How far away are we from that? I should probably take out one more loan. That can come off. That can come off as well. Usalar, Amion, Laurent. Alright, aim for the sun. Aim for the sun is the motto of the White Phoenix House of Wisdom, founded by Kaerdir Baramzur, the former ruler of Amrahar and the most accomplished mage of his generation, the undisputed center of magical learning in all of Rezankand. After the tragedy at Sarmartal and the inexorable advance of the disciples of Jadar led to the collapse of Sun Elven rule in Bulwar, he joined the Exemplar's expedition not just to flee the collapse of his former realm, but to discover firsthand the arcane secrets left behind by the Precursors, a goal he would dedicate his remaining life to. He and his acolytes in the White Phoenix House of Wisdom have shown a remarkable aptitude in the melding of magical arts of Bulwar with the various esoteric practices that arose amongst the Runeborn after the Day of Ashen Skies. And by this, together with whatever fragments of the even more venerable arcane wisdom of the Precursors could be uncovered, they have created an astonishing feats of magic whose brilliance is almost as bright as the very sun. So our secondary capital gets the White Phoenix House of Wisdom, which will make it cheaper for us to get tech. Alright. Is there any glass anywhere? No precursor. James tier. Mushrooms. Barely have any iron. Alright. That was great. Alright. So we now have a decent idea of everything that Amion owns directly. Musket or bow. Yeah. The abduction, great. Yep. Excellent. Oh, damn. Yep, good enough. Also will save us a lot of money. Precursor knowledge. Alright, I think I am going to leave this episode here. I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and have a good day.